Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Because Football Podcast, specifically for the Icarus Cup Series presented by CASA and Icarus FC. And we've got a great one today. We're hearing from team captains, we're hearing from organizers, but the kits are the backbone to this. CASA kills it with the organization, but the kits are the backbone. And today we're bringing you one of the kit designers, Jaden Stevenson from Icarus FC. Welcome to the podcast.
Happy to be here. How's it going?
It's going great, man. Really excited to chat and follow up. This is like a chapter two. We got to connect during last year's Icarus Cup. If no one has seen my video, Because Football's homage to the Icarus Cup 2024 in Philly, go check that out. We've got a nice interview with Jaden. But for those of you who haven't seen it, we're going to kind of reintroduce him to you. So first of all, tell us where you're from and what's your earliest memory of the game of soccer?
So I'm from a small town, Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. If you look at Wisconsin as a state, it's right on the end of in the middle of the peninsula. Super small town. Didn't have a ton of outside exposure to the game in my life. Really, it all came inside my family with my older brother. So I'd like to think that like my earliest memories of the game were playing with him in the backyard. And he really exposed me to soccer in general, right? But he exposed me to the European side of it. He was ungodly obsessed with Cristiano Ronaldo. He was one of the kids who copied every haircut, bought every single Nike Mercurial boot of his.
Wrap the ankle wraps were like key in that period of time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Did he get the frosted tips, the highlights too?
Yeah, of course.
Because that was key for young Ronaldo.
Of course. Yeah, he had it was everything with him. It was the haircuts, it was the style. I distinctly remember him going to barbershops and getting whatever design shaved into the side of his head, and then coming home and my mom just being very surprised, right? Like it wasn't a typical hair that any of us were really rocking.
Exactly. I can't imagine there's many Ronaldo lookalikes in Sturgeon Bay, so that's brave, because I loved Ronaldo, especially those early Man United years, but I never quite had the confidence to go hairstyle as well. Didn't think I could do that. So props to your brother. And I know from when we chatted before, not only was that exposure key for you in general for connecting to the game and that through your brother, but that was kind of some of your first starts of designing kits as well.
Yeah, I think he had a kit collection himself, which exposed me to, just like I said before, just like kit design that was outside of the US. Because I think my interest with football lied domestically. I think I was way more interested in MLS. U.S. men's national team, right? My childhood hero of a player was Clint Dempsey growing up, and so I could tell you,
love it,
Deuce. Yeah, I could tell you all the kits he wore, all of his celebrations and whatnot. So that was my guy, and he had their jerseys, right? Like I would steal them all the time. Yeah, and I think I always had an interest in art, right? I think my family was a very artistic family. He himself too, my older brother was. And so kind of mending the two together, the two interests, kind of was a no-brainer, and didn't really put it together until later in my life that was something that was, realistically a job potentially, but always had intersecting interests between the art world and then soccer world. It's grateful I had those two really strong, solid foundations, I think, in the art world and in the soccer world, and then naturally, right, like perfectly mending them together.
When you mentioned the MLS connection, is that kind of like we're talking like a lot of those like Adidas template kits and stuff back in the day, where like every kit was the same but like just different colors, which it was fun. Like, I mean, Adidas had some nice templates then. They even did that for the national teams and stuff. But I feel like luckily we're kind of in this era whereas it used to be more of like a standalone novelty for a club to have, or even a country to have like its own kind of unique bespoke design. And now, as you mentioned, it's becoming more of a reality to really stand out and be part of their identity. You mentioned Clint Dempsey, much more accessible haircut for a footballing hero, I'm sure. I don't know if you carried the rapping skills as well.
I regrettably shaved my head twice in high school. Not necessarily to match him, but I think maybe every guy goes through a stage where they think buzz cuts for them, right? So I try to channel maybe a little bit
Gotta
of
give
Clint
it a
Dempsey
go.
in me there, but definitely wasn't for me. Regrettably, tried
Fair.
maybe a
We
Dempsey
live
hairstyle.
and learn. Yeah,
Yeah,
we live and
exactly.
learn. Do you have a favorite, like, iconic like, when you picture Clint Dempsey, whether it's for the national team or, like, Fulham, there's a specific Fulham kit I kinda have in mind. What is Deuce wearing? What kit is that he's wearing when you picture, like, the
Yeah.
quintessential?
Yeah, funny enough, like, I think, like I said before, like, my interest within the MLS, right, I got a bit obsessed, kinda with, like, the branding behind it as well. And so when he made his move from Europe to Seattle, that was kind
Mm,
of like my heyday of interest level in the MLS, right? That was when I was coming from middle school into high school. And so when he was at Seattle with the likes of, Obafemi Martins, Brad Evans, those guys, right? I
yeah.
think that was kind of an electric version of him, just because there was so much hype behind him coming back to the US, and that was a huge deal, like money wise too, for the league, and it's just a big name to come back
Mhm.
and play. So I think his first Seattle jerseys, I have a couple. I actually have one hanging up over here to the left, by my desk. Those like Volt green. I don't necessarily agree with the colorway. I don't think it's a great colorway,
Yeah,
but
but
those
it
Volt
was
green,
it
blue, I
caught your
think,
attention and is
yeah,
unique, right? Like, yeah,
yeah,
I can when you're saying that, like, I've always thought the Sounders have always had a very distinct kind of brand identity, right? When it comes to not only like their soccer community and the fans and when they used to be packing out the
yeah,
stadium too. As a Union fan, rough memories of like Obafemi Martin scoring a stoppage time it was extra time winner in the Open Cup
yeah,
to at, like at Subaru Park, so stealing the Open
yeah,
Cup
yeah,
final from the Union. But yeah, Seattle always kind of had that,
yeah,
like you said, might not be my favorite look, but like it's unique. It's standalone in that
yeah.
sense.
It's funny because like I remember wearing the jersey when I was in high school, like maybe like a freshman or sophomore, and nobody saw it ever as a soccer jersey. They just saw the
Mm,
Xbox artwork on the front, and they thought it
gotcha.
was me being this avid, obsessed gamer that I had to wear like an Xbox branded shirt everywhere. So every time I'd get stopped and I'd say, no, 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 like it's a soccer jersey, right? Like it's Seattle, like it's cool. I promise. Like it's a soccer jersey.
Which
So I had
everybody
to,
knows whether it's a joke or your fashion style. If you have to
right,
explain it, that's a good thing.
exactly, yeah,
Nowadays, luckily, we're in a totally new era where now there's like kids who are wearing the soccer jerseys who, like, don't even know really who that is, but, like,
yeah.
it's kinda cool to wear soccer jerseys now, like, it's a
Right,
total shift. It went from even within, like, teams that I'd be on going through middle school, high school, like, a quarter, a third of the kids would actually have a jersey, and these are, like,
yeah,
kids who played the game, but as far as,
yeah,
like, that cultural piece just wasn't there, and
yeah,
that was, like, Philadelphia, which were pretty diverse area or pretty rooted soccer history and community, so I can imagine, middle America, right? Because now it's like you're a part of kind of that other side of it's almost like a new iteration and like a subculture within that, right? It's not just like we're all seeing not just like the main kits. Now it's like Icarus, what you guys are offering is just such a more personal
hmm,
and customizable and like more, I don't know if I'm going to use the word like a kind of tighter knit, like intimate feeling, right? Like it's really close versus like a one size fits all. So I want to
yeah.
get stick with your personal journey and see like when did this opportunity come about then? Like when did you first hear about Icarus and see like, okay, a kit designer is a job.
Yeah, yeah.
It's your new life now.
So I was in college playing, and it was my junior year, and I had really started to focus on maybe developing my own sort of like artwork and maybe my own style, and just I had always like dabbled in the art world and picked up projects here and there and done some soccer related projects and some not related projects. So I really think I just decided to go all in and just kind of work to mend my two worlds together actively. And I had begun to produce like social media graphics, designing like social media graphics for a bunch of different lower level teams in the US. I was hitting up all of the NISA guys or team managers and coaches. I was hitting up all of the UPSL, MPSL people, trying to do their graphics, trying to get some sort of foot in the door for this creative soccer space, because I think I actively saw it growing kind of around me. And so I definitely wanted to be part of it in some capacity. Maybe just didn't know specifically what at the moment, but yeah, just knew I wanted to be a part of it. And it was during that time that I was kind of all in going after it that Icarus started popping up on Twitter and releasing a bunch of different like concept kits, right? And so it was definitely Rob on the other end, right? Producing all these concept kits, releasing them on Twitter. And finally, I had enough seeing all these cool designs coming out that I had just had to somehow be a part of it in some capacity. And it was quite literally just like an cold email reaching out to Robbie and just, expressing that I loved the brand and I loved like kind of his approach at how he was designing football shirts, because it was refreshing and it was new, and I kind of saw that there was another level to designing a football shirt, and Rob was like scratching the surface of that. And so being a part of it in any way, I think I just wanted to be, and I was really excited about it. And Rob was super cool about it. Like, he responded immediately. I remember we got on a phone call, and I think the next day I was doing a couple projects for him. And kind of that's like the classic, like, rest is history from there sort of thing. So finished out the 2 years of college, and then moved out here immediately after college to Philadelphia.
I mean, that's a story there of like just following. You were already just starting to actually take action with like what you loved and were doing, and reaching out to different lower league clubs, and then the right thing comes along, and it's a special story. You mentioned kind of the next level, kind of like that perspective that Rob brought to it. Like, could you tease that out a little bit for us? Like, and especially from your design perspective and that like aesthetic perspective. Just kind of like give us a little more detail of what you mean by that.
I think the way that I saw Rob designing and the way that he was designing, right? I think to me, it seemed to be an approach to designing a football shirt that was a lot more artistic and a lot more thoughtful. And Rob obviously has huge interest in history. I'm not so much a history buff, but I think a lot of his interest in history, and researching textiles, researching different groups of people, right? Just like culturally, right? Like, there's so many different references to go off of for a design. And so I think I saw that, and I thought that was incredibly refreshing, because I didn't think at the time that anybody was putting that much thought into design. And personal opinion, like, I think like that should be an incredibly thoughtful thing, right? This like kit design, right? It's something that's representing a community. It's something that's representing, an entire team, right? Like, it should be a really thoughtful thing. And like, Rob was putting that extra thought into it, and just like a way more like artistic approach to it. That's not very like computer generated ish, like has a lot of organic marks to it. Just looks like it's been touched by a human being's like hands, right? When it's been designed. So to me, that was very refreshing, and kind of brought me back to like my roots in a way where, I wouldn't call myself a traditional artist by any means, but I think that's where I started, where I was drawing and I was painting and I was mixing medias together, and I was getting very, into the project, and a lot of it was like very thoughtful. And so, that's just a big selling point to me for Icarus, is that there's a lot of thought that goes behind this. Everything's done. A lot of decisions are made with an intention, right? And we do our research, right? Like, it's, the shirt's built of images, motifs that have relevance to
the word. When you're saying all that, the things that are coming out to me is like kind of that depth, right? So it's there's like layers to it. It's not just a quick, hey, what colors look cool, what different shapes and designs and pieces of this might look cool, but really like telling a story. We're really looking at the story of the club, that team, that community, and then okay, what are we able to put together here to like physically express that and represent it? I know that's something that in past years, for like, obviously you work with individual clubs and teams, whether it's, your Ghana Premier League or Bhutan to, just your regular five-a-side kickabout in any number of cities across the US and the UK and Europe now. What are some of those themes, those motifs that you guys have used as previous Icarus Cups? Because I think last year we were talking about the inspiration was like cities of the world, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It's always funny when we sit down and kind of try to decide like a theme for Icarus Cup, because we get really excited about this one specific theme, right, and narrow it in kind of on what we want to do. And then naturally, the more research we do, the theme just gets broader and broader and broader. And so what I told you last year about last year's Icarus Cup, right, like cities, that's such a vague theme, right? But I think ironically, in order to become more focused in on a theme, you have to look at it in a broader scale and then find that one piece of inspiration that really resonates with you when you're designing it, whether it be like the music or the textiles or the fashion or really any aspect, and really focus in and just like research that deeply and then use that as the concept. So yeah, last year was cities around the world. This year we decided to approach it again as a vague theme, just because we knew it would eventually get there. But we decided that we've been looking at specifically textile designs, pretty much
Okay.
really every single day that we do projects, right? Like different cultures and their different textile designs, and then what they wear, right? Like it's something that's on our mood boards every single day that we do our job. And it's really what Robbie started the company off of as well, just looking at those designs for inspiration. And so we really decided just to bring it back to what we enjoy designing the most, which is patterns that are seen in lots of textiles. And so that's the theme this year, right? Is like mending that like country influence or city influence with like textiles that are usually found in that city. And so yeah, this year, that's what we decided to do, is just design these shirts as if they were, relevant textiles in that, respective city. So.
You guys are spending months putting all these shirts together, and it's like at one time just releasing them all into the world. What is it like to just see, like, does it almost feel like when you're looking at all the different games happening, are you like watching and remembering the stories of each of these kits as everybody's running around on the pitch?
Of course. Yeah. I think, every design holds its special kind of like place in you, right? Like there are designs that I definitely enjoyed designing over others and that I think are, better than others in my eyes, right? And I want to see them like portrayed in my mind how I thought they would be, like on the field and off the field. And so, yeah, I think there is like definitely an emotional attachment to some of them, right? But yeah, definitely like whenever you see them and people come up to you and they say how much they love them, right? Like it does run through your mind, like how much kind of like research and trial and error maybe went through it. And yeah, it's just a really cool feeling when people really love the jerseys that they're wearing, just because I think that every team that picks a jersey legitimately thinks their jersey is the best jersey of the tournament, which is great. You want them like that's their opinion, right? Like that's great. So it's really cool to hear that how much they enjoy it. So
what else is your favorite part about like the day itself, or the weekend rather? Like what's your favorite part about that whole weekend of Icarus Cup?
The capacity that we work with, like the clients that we do, is on a portal, right? So it's you're introducing yourself and you're talking over the computer, over like a chat log, right? And so getting to meet these clients and these people of these teams, right, like in person, you put a face to a name and you get to meet them and get to hear more about their stories and just like who they are as people and as a team. And I think that's really special, and then you start to realize that the teams and the clients you've been working with are far more connected to each other than you really ever imagined, right? We have a lot of teams that come and kit swap, right, and that know of each other and that have interacted like online with each other that we don't even know about. And so when we like learn about it, it's it's cool because it's just that greater sense of the community that we built and like these teams have built for us.
No, 100%. And when you think of like where your soccer journey started, right, with being pretty insular, right, just within your family,
Mm-hmm.
how does it feel then when you're in this like full environment of just everybody on a similar wavelength? Because like when I go to Icarus Cup without even knowing many people, like I didn't know you last year, but it was very
Yeah.
easy for me just being within the feeling of the event and
Yeah.
like just being I just feel like I'm among like my people, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like
Of
the
course.
footy people, and specifically like I mentioned, like that little like the people who have similar values within the game too. So what is
Yeah.
it like to kind of reflect on, just you and big bro, and then now all of a sudden you're like really a part of helping to like sustain and facilitate this awesome community of soccer.
Yeah, it's and it's like something that I definitely, if you were to tell me like when I was just getting into like the creative soccer space, right, that this one tournament would showcase all of these incredibly hyper creative designs of these jerseys and everybody would be on the same page. Everyone would love them and they would just all get it, right? Everyone at this tournament,
Mhm.
like they get it. They get like what we're trying to create and it's them that make the atmosphere and like without them it would be nothing obviously. Um, but yeah, reflecting on it, it's just yeah, it's a really special thing and really cool that, everyone's just about rocking their shirt and like they get behind it and it's a day of, just celebration and just a ton of fun. So
Yeah, I'm excited for it. So we've got a great summer lined up with Austin, Philly, and Boston for the Icarus Cup. You guys have been working with CASA to make these events happen for the last few years. What can you tell us about CASA and what they're able to contribute to the event as well?
yeah, I mean, obviously without CASA, the tournament wouldn't be what it is. In all like facets, like they're incredible to work with. They give us, which we like as the designers, right? They give us the freedom to design the shirts and make the decisions on the shirts, right? And as a designer, that's gold to you. That people are trusting you to put forth your best work in order and like their names on it obviously, right? So like it's a reflection of
Mhm.
them too. So trusting us to be able to create those jerseys for it, it's something we don't take for granted. And it's just such a right partnership in every way, us both being in like the Philadelphia scene. Yeah, I can't say like enough good things about like what they contribute and what they do for Icarus Cups.
No, it's really cool to see what both Icarus and CASA are able to do. Like you guys are again, really being active facilitators of that soccer community and culture, but just in your own ways and own lane, and then come together and there's this like amazing synergy that happens.
Hmm.
Now, if we move on here, we've been talking about Icarus Cup, some of your process. The kits have been released,
Hmm.
at least for some of the events, right? I know you guys have kind of staggered this.
Yeah.
How does it feel now that the work is finished?
Yeah.
Now that teams are snapping these up, what does it feel like to finally release these babies out into the wild?
Yeah, I mean, it's a relief. It's relief. It's you're anxious about it too because you don't know how people are necessarily going to react to them, their first reactions. Um, and then I think it's just it's joy as well because you get to see these things that you've sat down, you've put time into, and you've created, and you've put a lot of thought into, released into the world. Um, and become physical, like tangible, like items. And so, yeah, I think relief and then just like a ton of joy as well.
They're just like flying, like everybody's been snapping the shirts up quickly as possible,
Yeah,
getting their picks.
yeah,
I got one for you. If you Let's keep it MLS centered because you said that was such an important part of kind of your journey growing up. But if there's one MLS club, Don Garber comes to you and says, Jaden, our guys not getting it done. We need you to step in and give us another banger here. Which team would you want to take over the kit design duties for and give us a little idea of what that might look like? I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Oh, geez. Well, obviously, it would be Wisconsin if Wisconsin had a team, but we're gonna have to keep it Midwest because I
Yeah,
have to. Naturally, I would probably go. I think the Chicago Fire is just such a historic team, and
for
Chicago
sure.
itself has so much history to it which I think, right, like the new team, Chicago House, that came up a few years ago, I think they approached the branding of that team incredibly well. And I think there's a lot of like notes to take from that. And to do a Chicago Fire would be incredible. I think, like I said before, there's so much inspo for it. Midwest rooted too.
Very cool. Really have enjoyed chatting with you, Jaden, and getting the idea into the process. Like, I think the kids, the work speaks for itself, and really excited to see what you guys have cooking up this year. Like, again, last year, everybody I talked to, no misses, there's no misses out here. And like you said, every team thinks they have the best kit and loves their choice. Like, there's a lot to be said for that. So we know that you guys have been killing it, and we're really excited to see what you come up with this summer. But before we let you go, before you get back to the design table or whatever it might be back in the studio, you got to answer for us, as we have all of our guests. Could you complete the sentence, because football?
Because football. I think for me, and this is kind of a reference to a piece of artwork I did before when I was in college, and kind of in a place of uncertainty with like what I want to do, as a career and as you take the next step right out of college. But I made a shirt that said, found peace in football. And so for me, I think because football, I found peace would be my little my outro bit there. Peace in creativity, kind of peace in life in general, right? I think for all of us that are in this game, and whatever area you work in or whatever area you operate in football, right? I think a lot of us, we do it because we find a peace in it. And so, yeah. So because football, I found peace.
That's awesome. That's a great response, man. No, I think a lot of us can identify just with like the hold that the game has on us and all the elements to it, whether it's connecting with the community or just being in that kind of meditative state of playing the game or designing a kit, and really being in that process. The joy and in a space of similarly minded and hearted and souled people like Icarus Cup brings together. So we're excited to see you there in a couple of weeks. We're very excited for that. Nice, man. Any final words, any final statements here before we let you
go? No, just thank you to you for doing this. You do the game wonders here with because football, and I know a lot of people appreciate you covering the game the way you do, and I know we do appreciate it especially. So thanks for always being a friend of the brand and just a cool guy to talk to with this.
100%, man. No, it's my pleasure, for real. Like I said, love what you guys are doing. Love who you guys are. It's amazing. So ready to keep rocking and going forward. And hopefully we get a slightly more cool day this July and not be absolutely sweating our face off. You and I, again, I'm going to plug the video. We weren't even playing and we were dying. I can't imagine, so much respect to all you ballers out there who are going to get it done with your teams. Make sure you're bringing the hydration, bring a tent, bring the cooler and the ice pack and all your, washcloths and things to cool down.
The orange slices, everything.
100%. Yep.
I think the slices have turned into knee braces and ankle braces, right?
And cold beers. Yeah. Exactly, cold beers is kind of the cure-all. So awesome. Well, Jaden, appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for your work and contribution to the game, to the footy culture. Everyone listening and watching, thank you for being here. Hope you're getting so excited for Icarus Cup as we are. We hope to see you there, whether it is Austin, whether it is Philadelphia or the Boston event. It's going to be an amazing time, and do not miss it. Thanks all for being here. See you on the next one. Peace.